Are the big stories of the day. Kyrgyzstan, where there's been sporadic fighting today amid its worst ethnic violence in years. Live now to one of our central London studios, and Hamid Ismailov, who's the head of the BBC Central Asia and Caucasus service. Hamid, I know you have a personal insight into this story because you've been trying to reach your own family.
Yes, I've tried to reach my father, who lives nearby at Osh, and finally I've succeeded on the fourth day. So there is a certain amount of fear there, but nonetheless he is safe.
And not one of those who've decided to flee their homes?
No, because he lived there all his life, and as many Uzbeks and Kyrgyz who are living next to each other for centuries. Though historically they were taking different sort of niches there. The Kyrgyz, majority of Kyrgyz were cattle breeders, and majority of Uzbeks were agricultural and trade people. So they were coexisting safely and soundly over the centuries. But during the Soviet time they were banked together in the cities with lots of pressure on water, on land, on jobs, because Fergana Valley, where all is happening now, is one of the most densely populated places.
But Hamid, what is your understanding of why all of this then started to escalate, and why things apparently came to a crux last Thursday?
Several moments here. One of them is that Osh is the center of drug traffic and the flow of goods from Western China. Drug traffic comes from Afghanistan, and goods are coming from China. So we're talking about big money which are here. And mostly Uzbeks were the traders of these goods, whereas the patrons were the Kyrgyz officials. And after the uprising of the 7th of April, this system has broken. And therefore there is a vacuum which different criminal elements, political elements are trying to exploit at the expenses of innocent people. And what we are seeing is the exploitation of these interethnic feelings for their own purposes.
And the ethnic Uzbeks who've fled their homes in Kyrgyzstan, would you say that these are people who would see themselves as Kyrgyz despite their ethnicity?
They would see them as Uzbeks of Kyrgyzstan. They are quite different breed of Uzbeks when you compare them to Uzbeks of Uzbekistan, because Kyrgyzstan, with all due, with all due allowances to what's happening there, nonetheless was much freer country than Uzbekistan, and they feel much freer as the citizens of Kyrgyzstan. We have to remember, for example, during the Andijani events, many refugees, they fled to Kyrgyzstan from the neighboring Uzbekistan as well.
Okay, I mean, I ask that because I'm wondering to what extent these people will want to return to their homes, or whether after what they've experienced they might want to make a break with Kyrgyzstan. No, it's their historic land. They were living there all their lives along with Kyrgyz of this place. As I'm saying, the Fergana Valley was always multi-ethnical place where Tajiks, Uzbeks, Kyrgyz and many other nations, smaller nations, were living all together. Hamid Ismailov, thanks very much for joining us and for putting that context on the scenes that we've seen from southern Kyrgyzstan in the last few days. Now, in an extraordinary event in post-war Sri Lanka, 53 couples...